Good morning. I'd like to thank everyone in attendance. Could we please rise for those, as we are able, for a moment of silence for those that have given their lives in defense of this nation. Thank you. Please be seated. I'd like to pay my respects and acknowledgement to the elected officials that I see present, City Manager Cameron, and also Senator Nas, and any other officials that may be here that I'm unaware of. Also to our guests from the VFW, we'd also like to say thank you for attendance. American Legion, and anybody else represented, one of our distinguished veterans organizations. And also thank you to each and every veteran, military service, and family member present. We would also like to announce that we do have veteran counseling services or services for anybody who may feel that this is a little bit emotional. We always like to have that on hand for these type of ceremonies. Always be in mind that when we gather as veterans, we are always in remembrance that somebody that we've served with may not be here. So it tends to get emotional, even though we are here as a celebratory moment. Chancellor, good morning. On July 2015, the University of Wisconsin gained a strategic thinker as well as a visionary leader with Beverly Copper became our 16th Chancellor. She has focused on student success and providing all students with transformational, empowering educational services. Her achievements are too many for me to list at this brief introduction, so without further delay, please allow me to introduce you to Chancellor Beverly Copper.
Well, good morning, everyone. And for me, this is always a very humbling and inspiring day, certainly of the year. Today, we recognize our veterans who have served this country with honor and pride and who have made sacrifices that so many of us will never understand. Thank you for joining us today to honor all of those who have served our great nation. On a personal note, I will share with you this is a day that I think a lot of my dad, a World War II veteran that we lost this past year. And I apologize in advance because I am like triple booked today, and after I'm going to stay for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem, and then I have another event, and I apologize that I'll have to leave after that. As I look out, I see many familiar faces of veterans from the community of Whitewater and beyond, and veterans who are students, faculty, and staff on our campus. I am humbled by your service and dedication to our nation. And at this time, I'd like to say for all of you present today, this morning, as a veteran, would you please, if you are able, stand or wave? And I want to have us acknowledge all of you who are here today. Thank you. And again, thank you for your dedication and for your service. Today's world is often more chaotic and violent than we wish. In such a world, we need those who are willing to protect our nation. We are indeed very fortunate for and grateful to each of you who have put yourselves in harm's way to guard all we hold dear. In what continues to be a proud tradition here at UW-Whitewater, we have had more than a week of wonderful events honoring and supporting veterans. There have been events for veterans to meet and socialize, a workshop to bring awareness for the best practices in assisting student veterans impacted by traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress injury, and a Veterans and Military Appreciation football game. And I'd especially like to highlight this year's Veterans exhibit in Roberta's Art Gallery, Whitewater Heroes, which features Whitewater veterans who have fought in Operation Desert Storm, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and Operation New Dawn. Our photojournalist, Craig, has collaborated to bring this exhibit to campus, which includes veterans' own stories along with their photos, combat artifacts, and memorabilia. I invite you to visit the gallery immediately following this ceremony for a reception where we'll hear from Craig as well as meet some of the veterans and military service members who are featured. My thanks to all of the faculty, staff, and students who helped organize the events this week. It is a wonderful demonstration of the gratitude that we all feel within the UW-Whitewater family. I will leave you with a quote from our first president and commander-in-chief, George Washington, who said, "The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive the veterans of earlier wars were treated and appreciated by their nation." I think we would readily agree and let there be no doubt that all veterans have made and continue to make a difference in our world. And for that, we are deeply humbled and deeply grateful, and we are deeply appreciative of your service. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for your service, and welcome.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still
Please be seated.
Good morning. My name is Rashonda Harris, and I have the pleasure of introducing my dad, Richard Harris. I wasn't born when my dad was in the military. In fact, I had never seen my dad in uniform until 2 years ago when he was honored by the Brewers as Hero of the Game. At the game, a lot of people walked up to my dad to say thank you for your service and wanted to buy him a beer, which he politely refused. We had a lot of fun at the game, and it was the first time I got a visual of my dad as a veteran. So with great honor, I'd like to introduce you to my dad, Richard Harris.
Good morning to all staff, faculty, students, and members of the military community. It's an honor and privilege to stand before you today. But before I start, my daughter was diagnosed with a rare form of childhood cancer at 6.5 months. So we didn't always know that she would actually be here. So it's really a proud moment for me to have her introduce me. And like she said, she did not know what that meant that I said I was a veteran. I'm a veteran, I served. And that really didn't resonate with her until we went to that game. And wave after wave of people would come up, and then I think it kind of hit her like, okay, wow, this is a little bit something different. And what she also didn't say is last year they had a Heroes Day, and my daughter asked to wear my dress green jacket, which she know I don't play with. I keep it dry clean and pressed and all that great stuff. And I said, no, you know, I don't do that. She said, no, I want to wear it for real. It's Hero Day. And I said, well, what do you want to wear that for? She said, because everybody else is wearing Batman and Robin and all whatever, but I want to wear a real hero thing. I want people to know what the heroes really are. So that was a moment that was really, again, that kind of made me proud, but it made me understand that she was fully now embracing and understanding what being a veteran is. Yesterday, I narrated the Buffalo Soldiers in a symphony performed by our university. And I wasn't thrilled I'd been asked by Professor Glenn Hayes to do that. I hadn't been in anything like that since, I think, 3rd grade, and that was a disaster. I've always told people I played football because I could not be in the band. It's usually the other way around. But I didn't know how to play any instrument, so being in an area where there was music playing and all that was kind of a little bit traumatic for me. So I was really a little bit reluctant to do it. But again, in the military, you know, we have to make those sacrifices. I had to take one for the team because I can imagine there were probably not many other veterans on the campus that would want to be in that position either. And I also thought about Professor Hayes must have had some kind of faith in me to think that I would be able to do that and it would turn out well. So that was one thing that kind of motivated me to kind of get into the role. But again, if you're a veteran, you know how we are a lot of times. We are what we call it, I want to make sure I get the right word for it. We adapt and overcome. I read the script, and it was about the Buffalo Soldiers. And, we talk about being from eras that you served in. I can connect with my era in particular well. And I couldn't really totally connect, even though the significance of the Buffalo Soldiers really cannot be overstated. I really did not fully get into what it meant to be asked to narrate that symphony until I went to the first rehearsal. At the time I got at the rehearsal, I had the piece of paper in my hand and I looked at it, and here's what I was reading. Beginning with the Buffalo Soldiers in 1866, African Americans would henceforth always be in uniform, challenging the conscience of a nation, posing the question, how could they be allowed to defend the cause of freedom if they themselves were denied the benefits of being Americans? But we're not here today to criticize an America of 150 years ago, but to rejoice that we live in a country that has permitted a spiritual descendant of the Buffalo Soldiers to rise to the highest rank, the military rank in our nation. They showed that the theory of inequality must be wrong. And since those days, thousands of other brave black Americans have gone into harm's way for the country, always moving forward and upward, step by step, sacrifice by sacrifice. When we speak of sacrifice, it has been said that the greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. For me, it could also be said that there is no greater love than a man or woman that will lay down his or her own life for a nation of states divided between two colors of Republican red and Democratic blue, while faithfully embracing a nation united under the three colors of red, white, and blue. It was reading those words about the Buffalo Soldiers became a little bit overwhelming for me, because I realized that my service and anybody else who had ever served in the military as an African American owed that debt of gratitude to the Buffalo Soldiers, who served under the most difficult circumstances there could be to fight for freedom for a nation that would not give you freedom. Reading those words were a little bit overwhelming for me. Added to that, they were the words that were narrated by Colin Powell. You know, that's probably my biggest hero. That would be the person I would like to talk to for 15 minutes or just a lunchtime. I really appreciate what Colin Powell has done for this nation and for us as African Americans. So having gone through that experience of standing on that stage and narrating that was really more than I thought it would be. I thought I would just be reading those words and saying, let the symphony play and let me get out of here. I'm not a man of the symphony. I have no idea what was being played. I know the music sounded good and, you know, I kind of got a little rhythm with it and everything like that. But those words stayed with me. And I've gone down to this. I've been asked more than I care to recount. What do you think of athletes that kneel during the national anthem? I get asked that on a constant, consistent basis out of nowhere from people. And I always wonder in my mind, why are you asking me that? Surely you have run into somebody else that you could ask that question. I'm not an authoritarian on it, and I have no particular expertise in it. It's that I've served in the military and I'm African American, and somebody believes that I have an opinion. I have an opinion for the most part when we serve in the military. We have opinions, but we don't express them because that's not what we're there to do. No matter who's in office, we will go and defend this nation. Whether they be Republican, red, or Democrat, blue, we will defend the nation under the red, white, and blue, because that's what we do. That's what we raise our hand for. But today, I just want to kind of maybe just say a couple of things, and I want everybody to kind of really embrace the message that America needs to kneel for healing and reconciliation, not for division. Though we may represent red, Republican, blue, Democrat, we are still one nation, and we still have the same dream. Each and every person wants to live the American dream. Each and every person wants to be free and wants to have equality and wants to have justice. So as it was said earlier, instead of being here to criticize a nation, I'm here today that make sure that we understand that we are a wounded nation with many scars. And I would not normally make those kind of statements, especially during a situation where everybody may have different opinions. It may look like I'm standing here by myself, and clearly the visual I am. But after experiencing what I experienced yesterday on that stage, I'm sure I'll never feel alone again. I'll never feel the same after reading those words from those spiritual descendants. So today I'm standing here emboldened, and I'm implored by Buffalo Soldiers as their descendant to say that it is time for America to have a kneeling as a form, not of protest, but as an act of healing and reconciliation. Each and every person here can play a role in ensuring that our nation heals. Each and every person here who has came here today to honor veterans, if you want to honor veterans, military service members and their families for the great sacrifices, then you have an obligation to more than say to us, thank you for your service. We need you to do more than say thank you for your service. We need you to understand that as an individual citizen, you have a lot of power, and that power is to be a part of that healing process. Each and every veteran here today, again, could you please stand? Any veterans? I would ask that each and every veteran standing here also ask that everybody engage in that healing process. Again, we are a nation not of division. We are a nation of unity. Thank you.
Good morning. I am honored to be here. I am ERIN CELELLO, a professor of English here at Whitewater, and it is my great honor to introduce to you your next speaker. Before I do that, though, I just do want to acknowledge all of the veterans here and thank you for your sacrifice, for missing birthdays and holidays with family and friends, for putting yourself in harm's way at times, and for all that you did to keep our country safe and protect our freedoms. So thank you. So a handful of years ago, I developed an English composition course on campus specifically for veterans and other military-connected students. And on the first day of that class, very first class, I explained that we'd be working on writing and research skills by focusing on studying poetry mostly, and a play here or there. All of those focused on military issues. And there was this back row of guys, 4 guys, kind of low with hats pulled low, looking at me skeptically. And at the mention of poetry, one of them raised his hand and said, "You're not going to make us talk about our feelings, are you?" And that was my first introduction to your alumni speaker, Ryan Lonergan, who had recently served 6 years in the Wisconsin Army National Guard, including a deployment to Camp Bucca in southern Iraq. And as that semester went on, I think I learned as much, if not more, from Ryan and his classmates. In the years that followed, Ryan returned many times to talk to other classes that I taught. He has approached me for letters of recommendation and job references, and throughout all of that, we have, I think, become friends. Since Ryan's graduation from UW-Whitewater in 2015, he's channeled his military service, education, and passion into helping other veterans. As a career readiness counselor for the Citizen Soldier for Life program, try saying that 5 times really fast, he is making it his life's work to reach those veterans struggling with homelessness, depression, and suicide, and to help veterans with job readiness skills that help them successfully transition out of the military and back into civilian society. I can think of no other more worthy person to fill the role of the alumni-veteran speaker today, and it's my absolute honor to introduce to you Ryan Lonergan. Thank you.
I gotta get organized. Hold on. Sorry. All right. I'm taller. Good morning. Well, Chancellor KOPPER kind of went MIA, so good morning, faculty, staff, students, fellow veterans. Thank you for this enormous honor to come back to Whitewater and speak in front of you on Veterans Day. Really quick, I'm going off the script really quick though, is yesterday, my voice sounds a little crazy, I was at the Packer game yesterday, so our season this year kind of requires a lot of, are you kidding me, and what are we doing right now, screaming loudly, so that's why my voice is a little cracked. Packers are celebrating their 100th season, and yesterday was also the centennial anniversary of the end of World War I, and then today, actually this year also, Whitewater celebrating their 150th anniversary. And it made me think of the beginnings of where I started off and how I became in the military. Senior year, autos class, walking into the class, there's a Humvee up on the lift, and there was a pretty girl in the shop. And she was a recruiter, and I was 18, and she says, "You want to join the military?" I was like, yeah. I'm not gonna make eye contact with you. And I met with her, and she, we got $20,000 signing bonuses for truck drivers, cooks, and infantry. And I was just like, "Well, what's infantry?" And she's like, "Well, you get to shoot really cool guns, and might get to blow some stuff up, and you have a 50% chance of dying." And I was like, "All right, let's do that one." But without Tracy, she's actually here on campus. She's our LTC cadre, Tracy Cook, Master and Cook. We have a really good relationship, and I want to just thank her for the beginnings. I don't know where I would be without her. 4 years ago, I stood here on campus as a student veteran. I was here speaking. I used to roam this campus in the buildings, fostered new relationships with veterans and non-veteran students, professors, and staff. I graduated from UW-Whitewater in 2015. It was one of my greatest accomplishments to graduate because of the hard work, dedication, and support I had here. at Whitewater. Now I'm a proud father of a tenacious 2-year-old daughter named Ava, who has become my priority number one. I have a new mission in life, and that is to keep my sanity when watching Frozen or Moana for the 400th time, or listening to Baby Doo 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 Doo. But being a father is my greatest accomplishment. I thought shooting guns, getting tattoos, going on Blackhawks, I thought that was all manly. But being a father is truly the most manliest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Waking up at 2 o'clock, changing those diapers. Woo-wee. I went on to attend grad school for my master's in social work to hone my craft in helping fellow veterans that are transitioning back to society. I learned about mental illness, suicide, and drug and alcohol abuse, homelessness, abuse, and many other topics that are seen and dealt with throughout our society. I was naive that the veteran community didn't have such problems, and we always helped our own. I dropped out of grad school to work with the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs Veteran Outreach and Recovery Program, helping homeless veterans throughout 7 counties in northeastern Wisconsin and the rest of the state. Many had mental illness, alcohol and drug abuse issues. Many were also homeless, unemployed, single, disabled, and suicidal. I traveled the state and met over 300 plus veterans with different backgrounds, socioeconomic classes, genders, and military experience. My job was to create and maintain relationships with all the programs that could assist veterans and military, whether that was with the county veteran service officers, nonprofit organizations, federal agencies, state or community-based. I was involved with all the programs on a daily basis. Working with all these veterans helped me understand our community on a deeper and more personal level. There's a lot of surface level assistance veterans can get, but to really help, you have to know how to ask those hard questions. I would ask those hard questions such as, tell me what's going on, do not hold back. I need you to know everything so I could best assist and find the proper treatment, housing, referral. Many of these veterans were coming to me at the lowest point of their life, so being empathetic and listening was truly important. There are plenty of articles on PTSD, suicide rates, homelessness, and low morale amongst veterans today. Many return to a life, country, seemingly without purpose. And this is perhaps the hardest thing of all. Waking up every single day, unsure of why you're doing what you're doing. Meandering through life, no longer with a sense of something larger than yourself. Struggling to find a purpose and where to fit in. Veterans are lost. Transitioning is hard for all veterans, but everyone seems to assume it's easier for National Guard or reservists to transition because we're always home and around friends and family. That's the furthest from reality. I left numerous units and had to pass the unit on a daily basis, whether it was work, school, or on the weekends, thinking to myself, I wonder what they're doing. Do they miss me? It was kind of adding insult to injury, and it was a constant reminder of missing out and not being there for my family. In all facets of life, be it work, relationships, or combat, there will be obstacles that stand between us and our goals. Life is full of those events that just seem to slow us down. Sometimes they trip us up a little, other times they level us. Yes, there are even times when something comes along and knocks us down, and then proceeds to curb stomp our teeth in. Breakups, makeups, empty bank accounts, unemployment, health, lack thereof, family, booze, pills, bills, the list goes on and on. These are all part of the process recently. Blame who you want or what you want, fault is irrelevant. What is imperative is that you put one foot in front of the other and you carry on. As long as you're moving forward in your life, no matter what pace, you're winning. Our time in the military has prepared us for these events. Perhaps not directly, but nonetheless, we are gifted with the mindset to persevere. There have definitely been times in my life when I certainly didn't see the finish line. I sat at my kitchen table, dumping out and counting change from a jar to get groceries. This was a sad time in my life when I was barely scraping by, but that's where I decided that barely scraping by is better than not scraping by at all. Not because I accept mediocrity or the bare minimum in my life. I was still working and going to school and still moving forward. That job you applied for didn't call you back? Call them. You didn't get the job. Apply for another. Tired of deployment? Does it all seem pointless and repetitive? Just put one foot in front of the other. No matter how slow and awkward your steps, forward is always the correct direction. As long as you keep trying, you are doing the right thing. You don't have to get there today, you just have to get there eventually. The thing I try to portray to those around me is that failure is just an opportunity to ask, what's next? Failure to me should be the chance to try something different. I got the sniffles, sorry. For current service members and student veterans, use this time and do yourself a favor and start preparing for the future now rather than when you absolutely need a new job and paying the bills. Employment should be about satisfaction and challenge, not just income. Identify the skills you have and what you need to develop or acquire, then begin to craft your image so that you control the world. You have so much more to offer because of your military experience. Use it as inertia. Perhaps it's because we lost our youth when we joined the military, or maybe it's the fact that we've seen more of the world than our peers before we could legally drink. Whatever it is, we typically have seen and done more than our peers in our early 20s. Some won't want to hear that, but that's the truth. Seeing people squander their youth on things that don't matter to them decades later breaks our hearts, simply because we never had that option. To be perfectly honest, myself and many other veterans would have spent our young adult years in no other fashion. We simply do not want to watch others waste the precious time and opportunity they are granted. Nobody in this world owes us anything we did not earn. And certainly we are entitled to share the benefits of someone else's hard work. If you want something, work for it. Earn your keep. Make your bones hurt every day. In the military, we had to prove our worth every step of the way. Take that approach to life. Earn your keep. How fortunate are we? Those that share the bond of the warrior spirit, to be able to have the opportunity for another purpose, another meaning of life. We were given this gift, this responsibility for a reason. The reason is that we are worthy of it. We must live a good life to honor the sacrifices of the fallen and preserve the way of life they died for. Allow them to speak through you in your everyday life. Tell the stories of how they lived. What kind of person were they to you? How did your fallen brother or sister help shape you into the person you are today? Respect their sacrifice by being kind, patient, respectful, loving, compassionate, and helpful when you can. By no means should you completely change who you are. Hold yourself and the people in your life to a standard of living your brothers and sisters would be proud of. The key now is balance. Balance creates the full spectrum warrior, a self-aware member of the warrior class that can both love deeply and kill quickly, either tasks executed with unbridled passion and brilliant expertise. I would submit to you that an appreciation for one will deepen your respect and understanding for the other. We set ourselves apart as thinkers, innovators, philosophers, and leaders. We band together and challenge the status quo of the veteran community and elevate it to the greatness it's capable of achieving. The bottom line is, be a positive influence in your world, not a negative one. Our mission in life is now just simplified. Love a man or a woman, raise a family, be a good friend and an American, a positive influence in your community, live every day for our fallen, and continue to prepare for the next battle. This is the purpose in life for today's warrior class. This is how we must live. To those before us, to those among us, to those that we will see on the other side, Lord, let me not prove unworthy of my brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is William BREYMAN. I'm a fellow Air Force vet, and I'm pleased to be with you today to honor and introduce our guest keynote speaker, Dr. Cotey Jordan. He's a captain in the United States Air Force and is currently serving as the Installation Deployment Officer at the 911th Air Wing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. During his 16 years of service, he has had the opportunity to spend the first 10 of his years as an enlisted member, having deployed twice in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, as well as Operation Enduring Freedom. Dr. Jordan is a 2009 University of Whitewater alumni, having graduated from the Colleges of Science. He is a published author, proud owner of 2 companies, and the creator of the Growth Cycle, a proven system that has allowed thousands of organizations to take their visions to extraordinary levels. Finally, he's just a fun and fascinating person, and we're all on a treat today. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Cotey Jordan.
Well, thank you, fellow veterans. Thank you, family members. Thank you, community members, for coming out, joining us today to celebrate. And before I get started, I'd like to just throw out there a friendly reminder. It is the veteran, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It is the veteran, not the campus organizer, who has given us freedom to assemble. It is the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. And it is the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. Now, as we all come together to celebrate today, I ask that we don't forget about our fellow brother and sisters who are currently deployed overseas, the men and women who are unable to be here today with their family, their friends, or loved ones, as we all are, to celebrate this phenomenal holiday. I have to say, I'm absolutely humbled to be here today. It's been almost 10 years since I stepped foot on this campus. And as I rolled in yesterday, for those of you familiar with the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, on the weekends everybody disappears. I had the awesome opportunity to walk through the campus, and as Ryan so nicely stated, us men, us warriors, we don't like to deal with emotions. We don't like to talk about that garbage. Well, I feel like I got hit by a brick of emotions. And I thought about it, and I realized I never really had a full closure here at University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And what I mean by that, I left the semester early to go start my medical program because my curriculum had the last 2 or 3 classes that I in fact needed that were going to transfer over here to give me the degree I needed. Now the good news is, I did complete those courses. It did transfer over. I did in fact get a degree from this wonderful university. The bad news is I never was able to attend the graduation ceremony. What happened was I got deployed. As you all know, we come and go. We can't prepare for it. We do what we're told to do, and we just simply do it. So I want to share with you this. This morning I woke up and I turned over and I looked at the alarm clock that read 3:57. And as I laid there in bed, I took a big, deep breath. I planted a big old smile on my face. And I told myself, today's going to be a phenomenal day. And as I rolled out of bed, I was greeted by a dark, lonely hotel room. Super 8, in case you're wondering. I immediately thought of my family, my strong, courageous wife, Amanda, my young, yet extremely wise and stunning daughters, Allie and Alex. And I thought to myself, what the heck am I doing here? Did I really need to come all this way to share a message with a group of people who clearly understand Veterans Day? Did I really need to share my experiences here at University of Wisconsin-Whitewater with a group of individuals who clearly see the value that this university offers? You see, life has a funny way of opening and closing doors. almost as if it's guiding us through life, sometimes forcing us in a direction that we don't necessarily understand. And as we walk through these doors, we gain these experiences. Some of them, they lead to pure joy, while others, they lead to fear. They lead to pain. They lead to misery. And regardless, it's these experiences that mold us into the person that we're destined to be. Today, I'd like to take a few moments. I'd like to share with you some of the top lessons, the life lessons that I've taken during my time in the United States Air Force, as well as during my time here at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And it all starts with this flag. This flag awoken something inside me that I didn't even know existed. And I'm not talking about the American flag. I'm not talking about the red, white, and blue. I'm not talking about the stars and the stripes. I'm talking about this physical flag. This flag taught me that life is short and there are no guarantees. You see, when I was young, I was part of an organization, the Honor Guard, similar to these young bucks here. Appreciate you guys, you did a wonderful job. They're the Color Guard, one of those troopers in there, they are part of the Honor Guard. And just for those of you who are unfamiliar, what we did is as a two-man team, we would go honor our fallen vets. And we would go to the funerals. And essentially what we did is we took the flag that was draped over the casket, and as a two-man team, we would fold these flags. And every fold had a meaning to it. It was crisp, it was precise, it was very military-like. It was my time to do the present, to present the flag. So again, just to kind of bring you up to speed, there's somebody who folds a flag, and there's somebody who presents a flag. As a 20-year-old presenting an American flag to a mother of a 21-year-old boy who was not coming home was a very scary situation. Have you ever been in a situation where you have that pitying feeling in your stomach, and if you could, you'd bury yourself about 10 feet deep just to get away from it? Well, that's where I was, and as my partner made that last fold in the flag, I was left to tuck in the remaining material. We rendered the proper salutes, and it was game time. You see, we were taught this was a job. We were taught that we are to be disciplined. We are to have military bearing. And that day, I broke every rule there was, and I lost all military bearing. And as I took that flag, I performed my right face. I began walking toward that mom. Tears were falling. I was shaking about this much. And I continued to proceed, and I got down to her level, and I presented this flag, voice cracking, tears flowing. I said, "Ma'am, on behalf of the President of the United States, the United States Air Force, and a grateful nation, I present this flag." Tears are flowing, I'm shaking. This woman, this mother, gives me a big old bear hug. And I felt love pouring into me like I've never felt before. This mother hugged me as if I was her child, her baby boy who wasn't coming home. And she squeezed me. And we concluded that ceremony. Our two-man team, we did our job, it was done, we walked over to our vehicle, and typically that's when we leave. Well, not this time. This time was different. You see, this mother, she tracked me down, and she came over to me and she says, "Son, what you just did took courage." And I says, "No, ma'am, I'm just doing my job." She took this flag right here, and she stuffed it in my chest, and she says, "I want you to have that. I said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. That's not how this works. She says, no, you don't understand. You are going to take this flag because my baby boy, he's up there and he's in good hands with his daddy. This flag has been with me ever since then. It's taught me more life lessons than I could possibly share in the next 10 minutes. But what I will say is this flag has taught me that there are no guarantees in life and that life is short. Brene Brown stated that vulnerability is our most accurate measurement of courage. You see, I didn't see that as an act of courage. I saw that in me as a sign of weakness. Somebody who wasn't doing his job, somebody who was not maintaining military bearing. And this woman saw it otherwise. So the next lesson that I learned is that vulnerability saves lives. It strengthens people. And that brings me to my next point. While I was here at the University of Wisconsin, I became something I never thought I would do. And I was a resident assistant. I think that's what they're called. I was an RA. And one of the most powerful things in my life, becoming an RA, because I did it for all the wrong reasons. I did it because I was going to get free room and board. I did it because it gave me flexibility with my military training. And like I said, I had no idea what I was walking into. And there were kids on my floor. There were members in my RA team. And there was faculty right here on the campus who came to me with things that they wouldn't go to other people with. And that was a big deal. And what I realized is that we all have this facade, and for whatever reason, showing weakness is not okay. Well, I learned early in life that being vulnerable, it does in fact change lives, and it strengthens people. People want to know that you're not perfect. People want to know that you're human, and if you can show that, people will help you. More importantly, they will come to you for help. People came to me questioning whether they should drop out of school. People came to me questioning why I was never good enough. Why is it that I'm getting these A's and my parents, they'll never respect me, they don't love me, they don't acknowledge me for who I am, they don't appreciate me for what I do. People came to me wondering if they really mattered. Vulnerability saves lives, and it's one of the most hardest things to do because we all have this facade. Our marriages are perfect. We never argue. Our kids are absolutely perfect. They're wonderful. They're never going to do any harm. It can't be my kid. I have more than enough money that I can ever imagine, right? Because we don't want to be vulnerable about that. We're healthier than we could ever be. We don't want to talk about our sicknesses, our disease. We all have this facade, and nobody wants to talk about what's really happening in life. My takeaway with this life lesson that vulnerability saves lives is that sometimes in life, you do break rules. You lose military bearing. But the reality is you don't need to be perfect. Sometimes you just simply need to be you. That brings me to my third life lesson. When I think of Whitewater, I think of community. All my experiences here, and there's a boatload of them, it all comes down to the people. And during my time as an RA, I've made some of the best friends you could ever ask for. In fact, I keep in contact with more of the kids on my floor than I do of people that I would call my friends. As I was walking through campus yesterday, I made it a point to drive over to Tripp Lake. For those of you who are familiar, local park right in town. Very significant event in my life happened there. And it was with one of my RA buddies. You see, we decided to go sledding. Yes, sled riding, the thing that all kids do. And as we were sled riding, we were having fun. Things were good. until things became not good. You see, we went down this big old hill at Tripp Park. We built a nice little jump. And one of my buddies, Tony, as he went off that jump, he landed kind of funny. And he laid there and he wasn't moving. And as he laid there, my other friend Tony, there was three of us there at the time, we just kind of said, come on, get up, real funny. But he wasn't moving, and I remember like it was yesterday, and he just laid there and he stared up at me. He says, I can't move. I said, no, really, Tony, get up, man. He says, no, I can't move. So I remember having to make the phone call. The sirens were blaring, the ambulance was coming, but that's not the phone call I'm talking about. It was a phone call to his mother. And it was the same feeling I had when I presented this flag to that 21-year-old boy's mother. And I could hear it in her voice. I could hear it in her voice. He ended up getting life-flighted to one of the hospitals up in Madison. And he had quite the journey back. You see, Tony was a quadriplegic after that sledding accident. And he couldn't move from the shoulders down. And it was this lesson, as silly as it sounds, that taught me to practice gratitude. You see, I never really realized this, and I believe that many of you will be able to relate that there's so much in life to be thankful for, but far too often we get caught up with silly things that don't even matter. Sometimes we're just negative about a lot of things when there's really no need to be. And it was Tony, and I saw him laying there day after day, and I saw his mom, Grace, and I saw the pain, I could feel it. And during this entire time, he had such a wonderful attitude. I just couldn't understand it. For somebody who doesn't get emotional, I could not understand it, and it led to a lot of different conversations. He had such a wonderful outlook at life, and to this day, as we walk through that door together, I still don't fully understand it. However, what I will say is Tony's come a long way, because that was well over 10 years ago, and Tony has full movement from waist up. That's a big deal considering he was a quadriplegic at the time. And just last month, I know he's doing great things. He's in a wheelchair, and he's doing fundraising, he's doing charity work, and he's raising money. And really my point with bringing this across is things happen. It's the attitude that you look at it. And with Tony's wonderful attitude, it gave me a whole different view on life, and to practice gratitude, because there really is so much to be thankful for in life, and a lot of times we often focus on the negative. So what happened there, and why I think of Whitewater and why I think of community, is because back in the day, and I don't know if it's still the case, but back in the day, Whitewater's wheelchair basketball was known nationally. And as a community, we all came together and we did this fundraising event for Tony. When he finally got out of the hospital, we had a wonderful event right here on campus, and it was in the auditorium, and they did wheelchair basketball, and they fundraised, and they did some fundraising, and that event single-handedly just shows what this university is about. I remember that thing was packed. People came about, people who didn't even know Tony, but it's because we're like family, just like in the military. It doesn't matter what service you're in, we're all brothers and sisters, we're all family. That's the feeling I get here at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, because when shit hits the fan, we all come together and we support each other and we love on each other. That's important. So I ask, practice gratitude. The fourth lesson that I had is to have a vision and face your fears. So if I were to ask you guys, 20 to 30 years from now, for the youngsters, 20 to 30 years from now, if you can fast forward life, you can be as old as your parents are. Right now, would you want to be as healthy as they are? Would you want to be as successful as they are? Would you want to be where they are in life? And I ask this because far too often people are shaking their heads, and I've seen a couple out there. A lot of you are shaking their heads, no, I don't want to be as healthy as my parents. Oh man. I don't want to be sick, I don't want to be diseased, I don't want my quality of life to be down there. And if that's the case, I ask you, what are you going to do about it? You see, the problem is, Far too often, we're in this crazy, stressful world, especially here in America. We have this crazy, stressful lifestyles. Go, go, go. Now, now, now. How much can we get done? And we lose track of what's really important. So I ask you, if you were one of the people shaking your head no, what is it that you're doing that's going to ensure that you don't end up like that? You got to know where you're going. The second part of that is to face your fears. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. That was a quote by Les Brown, one of the world's most powerful motivational speakers. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we're too busy living our fears. I think about that as a professional speaker. I used to hate speaking. I would be scared to death to get in front of people. And then you just do it, and you fail your way to the top. It's fascinating. So here I am. I love talking to people. I love getting in front of people. I love inspiring people. And one of my mentors says, listen, man, technology, if you want to get your word out there, you want to motivate people, you need to do these Facebook Lives. My goodness. I hit the play button on that phone. I couldn't even remember my name. It was one of the scariest things ever. I said, I can't do this. I just looked like an idiot in front of whoever saw this video. So what did I do? I'll tell you what I did. I hired a professional videographer company. We sat in my home for 16 straight hours, and I failed my way to the top. After about 7 hours of failing, after sounding like a 2-year-old trying to learn how to talk, I overcame that. And I ask that you do the same thing. Ralph Waldo Emerson stated, what we fear most is usually what we most need to do. Face your fears head on and fail your way to success. That leads me to lesson number 5, which is to be disciplined. Just be disciplined. Every one of you in this room who has wearing the uniform, you know we have this brotherhood. We all know, and we have these funny stories about basic military training. And when you look at it from the outside looking in, it's actually kind of silly. I mean, here we are, folding socks, getting yelled at, waking up in the middle of the night to do push-ups. It's actually really silly, but it's all there for a reason. And whether you like it or not, we came out and we've been extremely disciplined. Discipline is something that I believe that most Americans lack. Most people, when they think of discipline, they think of belts and loud sounds. A belt to the rear and a week of no fun. The reality is, discipline is freedom. Think about this. The more disciplined you are, the more freedom you're going to have. The more disciplined you are with your money, the more money you're going to have. The more disciplined you are with not hitting the snooze button, jumping out of bed, going to the gym, the more fit you're going to be. The more disciplined you are to take the time to communicate with your spouse, your kids, the people who are important to you in your life, the better your relationships are going to be. Far too often, I feel like we fall in this trap of short-term gratification that often leads to long-term pain. And without getting into too many details, just to give you an idea, if I were to go smoke a cigarette, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, it's not going to kill me. So automatically, I think it's okay, and I can repeat this behavior. It's just like if I were to go to McDonald's and get a Whopper or whatever it is they serve nowadays, I have no idea. It's not going to kill me. But unfortunately, eating crappy food, smoking cigarettes, skipping your workout, sleeping in, not doing what you know you need to do, it's going to catch up to you. So although it gives you this short-term gratification, it's going to lead to long-term pain. So what I teach a lot of my, corporate America, when I get in and I educate these folks, is goals are great, but they're not going to take you to where you need to get to. And what I mean by that, people set goals all the time. I know people who lose 30 pounds in 3 months, only to put 40 pounds on 3 months later. So that goal really didn't do anything. So my recommendation is you take these goals that get you to take that small step in the right direction, and when you're heading there, you got to turn these into rhythms in life, something that you do regularly. And when you get these rhythms, you develop these good habits. And when you have these good habits, you have rituals. Who here brushed their teeth this morning? Did anyone have to remind you to do that? Of course not. That is a daily ritual that you have, just like you take a shower every day. Imagine that you woke up and you worked out every single day and nobody had to tell you that. Imagine you set aside some time every single day where you got your mind right. You practice gratitude. You set affirmations. I am powerful. I am important. I am a leader. Imagine if you had daily rituals like that, where you would be as a person, where you would be as a leader, where you would be as a spouse, as a parent. Discipline is key. I believe that every single person on this planet has a life purpose. And we all have our own unique journey that will allow for us to grow into the person that we must become in order to fulfill that purpose. Now I'm here today not only to celebrate our veterans, but also to give back. There is somebody in this audience today, and I don't know who you are. I have no idea what it is that you're seeking. But there is somebody in this audience that needed to hear this message. And I know that because there was a reason why this door opened for me. I have not been on this campus for 10 years. And there was a reason why I walked through this door. So I don't know who it is in this room that needed to hear this message, but just know that this talk, it was designed specifically for you. What you do with these lessons is up to you. There's going to be many doors that close in the near future, and there's going to be that one that opens, and you may not be able to understand why, but just walk through it knowing that you're going to be taken care of. That experience is going to grow you into the person that you were destined to be. As for the rest of us, remember, life is short. Be disciplined, be vulnerable, and practice gratitude. When you wake up in the morning, regardless of the time, take a deep breath. Put a big old smile on your face. And tell yourself today's going to be a phenomenal day. Thank you.
I gotta take a second or two to let that sit in, so it can kind of be apparent to whoever that message was for, because if it was for somebody. When we do veterans ceremony planning, it starts the day this ends. As soon as this ends, we start planning for the very next year. So it's a very long process. The implementation part, the kind of the guts of the part of it, that usually comes in the summer, when most of the people are not even on campus. So it is a difficult process in getting us to come together for this event. The ROTC part is difficult because they have a lot of comings and goings. So sometimes there's commitment, then that person may not be there. American Legion is always there. I think we can always kind of rely on them to be there. They're that old faithful. Difficult to find people to speak because not everybody likes to do public speaking. It's an acquired taste. This year in finding speaking, Ryan was a natural for me. I knew him before I even saw him on campus. I heard his name so many times, I was like, who is dude? I'm gonna run into him at some point. Yeah, I ran into him and then I kind of was like, oh, okay, yeah. You know, he got a big personality, but one thing he does is wears his heart on his sleeve. He would give you the shirt off his back. I've seen him at a lot of events off campus, across the state of Wisconsin. Always represented himself. We are always there to advocate for veterans. So it was great being able to have Ryan here. Cotey was a very different one. We've had a flag and a picture of him and a thing in the lounge ever since I've been here. I had no idea who he was. Nobody else knew who he was. It just had a flag in the case saying it was flown across for a combat mission. I actually went on Facebook to find him. And from there, it was rolling. I got a great feel for him, and I was like, okay, he would be perfect for this Veterans Day speaking. And I think that was confirmed with what the message was. One of the biggest part that resonated with me was being me. It's difficult for a lot of us to actually be who we are at times based on what we look like, where we're from, and what we're currently doing. For me, my son said something yesterday that was really odd to me. I've been coaching the football team with the younger guys for like 2 years as my son is grown. My son told me yesterday, 3 football players that I've coached all the time said they've never heard me laugh. Now, I've been a part of their lives for a good 2 to 3 years. And they said they've never heard you laugh. I had a hard time believing that until I replayed in my mind that I was running up and down the sideline like Vince Lombardi screaming, "You gotta block him, you gotta, no, don't. And I coach like that because that's the way I was coached. I've played sports all the way up in football, semi-pro football and all those great things. But in the military, it's like that. It's you know, you really are in your face, it's really loud at times, and you know, that's just the way it is. And that really made me think, like, man, is that really who I am, or am I really being, you know, who I really want to be? Not all the times. And I think that was really driven home because Dr. Jordan said something, so I'll go back and forth with Cotey and Dr. Jordan. He said something to me on a Facebook post. He had inboxed me and said, "Hey, I didn't know he was doing all these things, man. That's really great." And I really didn't know what he was talking about, so I went back and looked at all of the posts. And it was posts of me actually laughing and being silly. And it was really a really surreal moment for me. There's times when I do feel like I can actually be silly. I can be me. I can smile, I can laugh. Those are the moments that I need more of because they're therapeutic. When you see us as veterans, you don't really know our story. So a lot of times say, "Thank you for your service." We really don't, you know, okay. So that was touched upon, so I appreciate that. And not knowing if the message was for anybody else, it was definitely for me. And seeing the emotional part was significant for me. My father passed last summer, and he served. And I remember when we was doing the flag, and I think I was the only person there that didn't cry. And I had already predetermined that I wasn't gonna cry. My nephew, who serves right now, my other nephew served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and my younger nephew, they cried like babies. And I remember looking at them, you know, kind of like just with an odd look. But he was their father because they didn't have fathers. Their fathers were not a part of their lives. So I now have to go back and think about that. Was I really being me? I doubt it. Closing remarks, again, I would just like to I would like to thank everybody in the brass quintet. I would like to thank our soloist, Darius, who was here last year also. I would like to thank Kirsten Mortimer, I'm not sure if she's out here in the audience, helped put this together. Like I said, this was a really big task. Chief Kitterlin, Police Services, Athletic Department, Todd J, Craggs and University Reservations. Anybody else that I missed, I'm sorry. I mean, like, this is really difficult for me doing this right here because my mind is racing 1,000 pieces. I'm still worrying about the 21-gun salute and all of that stuff. So it's always really a little bit hectic for me. I'd like to thank the VFW that came out. Thank you, Jason and his wife. Our local VFW, we need to get our younger people involved in that because, again, we want to make sure the organization is in good hands and continue moving along. The American Legion, which is outside, which we will be performing. All our staff and faculty. And I see Professor Flanagan out there as a Vietnam veteran. I want to make sure I give him a shout out. Thank you. He's here all the time. So those are things that I wanted kind of just to close and give out some of those thanks. And I apologize for those that I missed. A couple other housekeeping things. There is the reception to the Roberta Art Gallery, which is downstairs. Immediately following this, about 12:30, there is a refreshments. There will be refreshments there, so you don't have to worry about going hungry for the rest of the day. I know my daughter would appreciate that. By the way, she's charging me $15 an hour to be here because she says that she's in training as a social worker. So I have to pay her. Free meals will also be provided for our Veterans Day. And they'll be at the Schaefer Commons from 11 to 1:30. You'll be getting a free meal if you go. Esther Dining Hall is from 11 to 4, and those are really long hours. Drumline Dining Hall also from 11 to 4. So for those who are wishing to have lunch and not have to have it come out of your own pocket, your own expenses, you can go there. We really would appreciate everybody going down to the reception right after. Right now, we are going to prepare for the 21-gun salute, which will be outside. Do you want to retire the colors first? I defer to you. Okay. So we retire the colors. Could everybody stand as they can, please? We will now be ready for the 21-gun salute, which will be taking place out on the patio. Everybody can stay here. It will be Thank you. That concludes our ceremony.